Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Sian and today I'm here to give you my top 5 tips for children who are struggling with anxiety or poor behaviour during the current lockdown. Now, lockdown is not something any of us are used to. It is obviously a huge deal in a child's life as it is in a grown-up's life. They're not seeing their friends, they're not interacting, and they might well be finding that really difficult. I know that for certain one of my children is finding it a lot harder than the other. So here are 5 tips which we've been doing to try and help ease the anxieties of my daughter. Tip number 1 is to have a worry monster. Now this is our worry monster. It's called Treasure, and the idea of Treasure is that the child or the adult, whoever is worried, writes down their worry and they put it in the worry monster's mouth, and the worry monster eats that worry. So the child no longer has to deal with that worry anymore. It's out of their mind. It's something that they've given to the worry monster and the worry monster has kind of gobbled it up. Now you can choose to open the worries, like take the worries out of the worry monster with the family. So my daughter doesn't want us to do this, so the worries just stay in the worry monster. But if you wanted to talk them through, then perhaps you could get them out and you could discuss them and you could kind of say, well, hang on, look, we can do this to make this worry go away. So you can find ways around working that worry out. At my children's school, they have a worry monster in every single class, and every worry the children have, they can go and pop into the worry monster. So it's quite a nice, cute way of dealing with it for primary school age children, and I think actually it works really well for grown-ups too. My second tip is to try and spend some time alone with each child individually. This might not be that easy. I know we found it really hard to kind of split them up. As it's kind of worked out, my husband is working full time, so he needs the space, he needs it to be quiet for him to work. My job has obviously pretty much disappeared, so I am now the person who is trying to homeschool the children. So to try and separate them when they both want my attention has proven a little difficult, but it is possible. And during that time, just kind of ask them about how they're finding things, how they feel. Just spend that time talking one-on-one with them, being really honest about how you're feeling as well, but without scaring them. Obviously, when you're telling them your anxieties, you need to be telling them in a way that doesn't kind of put that pressure onto them as well. So spend some one-on-one time with each child. One thing you can do with that is to make sure it's at the same time every single day, so the children know when you're going to spend some time with each one individually. We've tried to do this on a Tuesday when my husband's off, and it means that in the morning each child gets half an hour with him and half an hour with me, and it just gives them a bit more kind of time to go through things, whether it's work or doing a puzzle together, chatting, playing a computer game. It's just spending that time with one child. Also, my son and I have started going out for walks together, generally in the morning. My daughter doesn't seem to want to come, so my son and I have kind of taken that as something we do together, and it's nice to do that. If you can, try and get some alone time for yourself, because that will help you to recharge and be more able to deal with anxious children. This is definitely easier said than done. I know I'm struggling massively with it, and I haven't managed to really find, apart from a couple of walks in the last 5 weeks, I haven't actually had any time alone, which is, it's ridiculous really when you think about it. If you are dealing with bad behaviour, which many of you may well be, I know that we have been dealing with an increase in bad behaviour, and we've tried, certainly with one child, the idea of consequences, like the actions that they do have consequences, works with one of our children. With the other, it really doesn't work at all. So it's very hard to parent in that way with both of them. So what we do find is that counting to 3 works. I know it's ridiculous that we have like a 9 and 11-year-old and that counting to 3 is still something we do, but they both react to it, so it is something we have continued to do. Make sure if you're having to kind of punish bad behaviour, that make sure that if you're facing bad behaviour and if you're getting stressed, try and take a moment just to breathe, because you need that time to calm down just as much as they need the time to think about what they're going to say next. They're going to try and hurt you, they're going to try and say nasty things because they're scared, and that's how fear comes out. The fear comes out in ways that you might not imagine, but like them being horrible to you, them saying they don't want to talk to their friends, them refusing to work and saying they're stupid. All of that is fear, and fear is so high in children right now. Whether or not they want to admit it, they're worried about COVID-19, they're worried about the fact that they might not go back to school, they're worried about the fact they can't go to the supermarket, just simple things, or they can't go to the classes they always went to, or they can't play football with their friends. So many things that are just on their mind currently. So just try and be a bit more understanding as a parent of the way that they're reacting towards you. My fourth tip is to try a relaxation technique with your children, whether that's doing some yoga together or just reading a story that relaxes them, or try kind of just really concentrating on your breathing in and out, really long deep breaths. And then my mum taught me this when I was a kid, which is where you have to breathe in for 5 seconds and clench one part of your body really tight, and then breathe out for 5 seconds and kind of relax everything again. So if you keep doing that with various different parts of your body, that helps to really relax your whole body. And it's something I still do. I use it at night time if I can't sleep. I just practice that technique and it really works. There is a story online, I think it's called How to Relax Like a Cat. I'll link it below, and that is a relaxation story for children. It's kind of interactive, and if your child is in the right mindset, they might feel like actually doing that. Number 5, your child might well be using distraction techniques to try and distract you, whether that's from teaching someone, whether it's from their behaviour. We had some excellent distraction techniques used this morning by my daughter, from pretending to be a cat, eating cardboard, all kinds of random stuff that she was clearly just doing to get a reaction out of me. That kind of behaviour can be ignored. As long as the child is safe, then ignore that behaviour. Don't give them eye contact, don't look in their direction, just ignore them. It's every reaction that you give them adds into their next kind of overreaction or overly distracting techniques. So every single response you're giving them, you're getting more back. So just ignore them if you can. It's really, really tough. And trust me, I know we have been there. There have been more tears than I care to. Yeah, so many tears from everybody, not just me. It's been really hard, but all of these techniques have really helped, so I really hope that they help you too. The other thing I want to say, there are quite a few books or booklets, which I will link below, which have come out to kind of explain coronavirus to children, and if they watch things like Newsround, that's also really good for that sort of age child. And it's kind of informative without being too dramatic about things, without sharing too much about how many people have died, all that kind of stuff that can be really scary. And also, if the news is on when they're in the room, that's going to really affect them. It's huge, the news at the moment, and if they hear how many people are dying, that really might not be useful to them. I know that I find it really hard to hear, and it certainly makes me really anxious, and I'm a grown woman who can kind of deal with that. But even though I'm still struggling with that. So I think make sure that you are really kind of conscious about what you are sharing with them, whether you mean to or whether it's just something that's happening. And tied in with this is also to try and get in contact with your children's school friends. Make sure they know they're not alone, make sure they can still kind of play with them over video chat. It's so important because they're missing those relationships just as much as we're missing those relationships with our friends, but their friendships are so much more intense. They're young, they are, they spend all their time with these people normally, and they can't at the moment, and that's really, really difficult for them. I'm sorry that my videos are a bit all over the place at the moment. That's purely because I'm seriously struggling with parenting and finding time to make videos, and it's just that, like, I don't even have time for blogging. I don't know where my previous time used to go because now my time is spent chasing my tail, so that's why I just haven't been able to upload as much as I would normally, and I'm sorry about that. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you again soon. Alright, bye.